Breaking, did Camron just completely cross the line of no return? Because what just leaked might have shattered decades of Dipset loyalty forever. A video of Chrissy Lampkin private, intimate, and absolutely never meant for public eyes just surfaced, and the internet is losing it. But here's the kicker, insiders are whispering Cam's name. Could it really be him? A petty revenge plot gone horribly wrong, or a calculated betrayal designed to humiliate Jim Jones in the filthiest way possible? And let's be real, Jim ain't staying quiet this time. He's exploding online, unleashing years of bottled up resentment, dragging out old backroom deals, stolen money, and friendships that might have been fake all along. We're not talking a small Dipset spat anymore. This is full-blown demolition. Two kings turned enemies right before our eyes. And once you hear what allegedly went down, your view of Cam and maybe Jim will never be the same. So don't blink, don't scroll, definitely don't click away. The video, the betrayal, the secrets, everything's about to unravel, and trust me, this is the start of the end. Are you ready to see the shocking truth? Asterisk, so let's get into the mess because this is not just another music industry squabble. At the center of it all is Camron, the flamboyant, sharp-tongued, pink fur coat-wearing Harlem legend whose swagger is as loud as his lyrics. On the other side is Jim Jones, the streetwise, calculating, money-driven backbone of Dipset, the man whose loyalty runs as deep as his ambition, but apparently not deep enough to survive what just hit. And right in the middle, caught in the crossfire of this chaotic storm, is Chrissy Lampkin, longtime partner, savvy businesswoman, and the person who has supposedly held Jim together through the highs and lows. But now a private video of Chrissy, one that was never meant for the public, has surfaced and sent the streets into full-blown meltdown mode. And the whispers are chilling. According to sources who claim to know what's really happening, Camron is the one allegedly behind the leak. Why? That's the question everyone is asking because at first glance it seems absurd. What could Cam possibly gain from releasing something so personal, so intimate, so destructive? Some say it's revenge. Others say it's a calculated power move designed to humiliate Jim in the most public way possible. And let's not pretend like this feud hasn't been simmering for years. Dipset was never the fairy tale outsiders saw. Behind the flashy videos, the coordinated bandanas, and the endless social media posts, there was always friction. Subtle jabs, cryptic Instagram posts, passive-aggressive lyrics, and whispers of business betrayals formed the undercurrent of their supposed brotherhood. Camron, with his silver tongue and calculating demeanor, was always plotting, always observing. Jim, the loyal enforcer with a golden heart but a vulnerability for ambition, often found himself on the receiving end of these moves, the cracks. In their empire started to show early on, small but noticeable, until eventually the foundation began to wobble. And now with this video, the old wounds have been ripped open in a way that fans never expected. Sources say the video is over a decade old, a private moment stored on a hard drive that belonged to Dipset during its mid-2010s turmoil, a hard drive that only a handful of people allegedly had access to. And somehow, miraculously, or perhaps maliciously, it found its way online. Within hours, Chrissy's face was trending, reactions flooded TikTok, and edits and memes exploded across social media. People immediately began connecting dots and pointing fingers, and Camron's name rose to the top like smoke from a burning building. Now, the timing here is what makes people question everything. Just days before the leak, Cam and Jim were reportedly spotted together at a high-profile brunch, laughing, posing for photos, and even hinting at a possible Dipset reunion. So, if Cam orchestrated this, was it premeditated genius or the ultimate act of betrayal? And the reactions were instant. Jim didn't stay quiet. Within 24 hours, his Instagram story was a single black screen with just 3 words. "I see you." It was cryptic, raw, and loaded with years of resentment. Fans erupted, choosing sides, debating whether Cam had finally gone too far or whether Jim had been laying in wait for years, secretly fuming over every slight, every perceived betrayal. The situation escalated further when Jim took to Instagram. Live unfiltered, uncut, and unrelenting. No PR team, no script, just pure rage spilling out in real time. He called Cam jealous, manipulative, and a clown, accusing him of using their friendship to cut deals and control opportunities while letting personal grudges fester into public humiliation. And the internet lost it. Comments exploded, emojis Flu memes were born and Twitter declared a war zone. But let's not forget the history, because history here is everything. Back in the early 2000s, when Chrissy was not just Jim's partner but a rising star in her own right, Cam allegedly disapproved, often trying to sway Jim away from her influence, claiming she distracted him from his career. Those old rumors, those whispered arguments and interviews, those quiet behind-the-scenes conflicts, all of it now feels like the origin story for the chaos unfolding. And now, in 2025, it all came crashing down. But here's where it gets darker. According to anonymous sources who requested anonymity for obvious reasons, Cam may not have just stopped at the video. Alleged leaked text messages between Cam and an unnamed industry insider describe a plan not merely to humiliate Jim, but to systematically dismantle his reputation, his brand, and his career. They allegedly spoke about targeting his finances, his fan base, and even leveraging his personal relationships as weapons in a war of manipulation and power. And Cam's silence only fueled speculation. No denial, no comment, nothing. A vacuum of truth, and as we know, the internet will fill that vacuum with chaos. Meanwhile, Chrissy Lampkin responded in her own cryptic way, unfollowing Cam on every social platform, archiving all photos that included him, and posting vague statements that seemed calm on the surface but screamed damage control in context. Friends and associates started choosing sides. The Dipset fanbase, once united, fractured. Social media threads erupted with conspiracy theories, some claiming Cam's calculated betrayal, others claiming Jim's own hubris had set the stage for this public disaster. And as the scandal spread, new leaks allegedly emerged: photos, financial documents, and messages, each one more salacious than the last, all pointing fingers, all deepening the distrust. The narrative wasn't just personal anymore. It was professional, financial, and public, a full-scale cultural earthquake. The questions now are chilling. Can a bond forged over decades survive a betrayal this intimate and public? Was this leak an accident or the apex of years of simmering resentment? Did Cam plan to humiliate Jim, or was he pushed to the edge by old grudges and business disputes? And as the world watched, waiting for statements, apologies, or denials, the silence itself became part of the story, part of the weapon, part of the drama that has now engulfed not just two men, but an entire legacy. The fallout was immediate. Industry insiders began whispering about lost deals, delayed endorsements, and reputational damage that could take years to repair. Every move by either party was scrutinized. Friends, family, fans, and foes weighed in, each tweet, each Instagram post, each meme adding fuel to a fire that nobody seemed able to control. And through it all, the question lingers like smoke over a burned city. How did it come to this? How did a brotherhood that seemed unbreakable crumble under a single leak? As the scandal deepened, the layers of betrayal began to peel back like an onion soaked in gasoline. Anonymous insiders, speaking under strict conditions of secrecy, claimed that the video leak was only the tip of the iceberg and that Camron's alleged schemes went far beyond personal humiliation. Reports surfaced that he had been quietly orchestrating financial maneuvers behind Jim's back for years, allegedly siphoning off potential deals and using subtle manipulations to gain leverage over the crew. The so-called Pink Fur genius was allegedly seen meeting with high-level industry executives under the radar, quietly plotting moves that could damage Jim's reputation while enhancing his own standing. Sources claimed lavish dinners, private jets, and meetings in hidden lounges where strategy was whispered like a dark art, all pointing toward a calculated long-term plan. Fans on social media, ever the detectives, began compiling evidence, posting timelines of events, and cross-referencing past interviews where Camron threw subtle jabs at Jim, only to have them brushed off at the time as friendly banter or industry bravado. And then there were the alleged texts and emails that leaked to various forums, painting a chilling picture. In one supposedly authentic message, Cam allegedly wrote, "It's not just about her, it's about control. It's about who remembers the name Dipset with respect." Another cryptic note hinted at destabilizing Jim's ventures, targeting partnerships and brand deals while keeping his own hands clean in public view. The implications were massive. If even half of these messages were real, it would suggest a level of premeditation rarely seen in hip-hop history. Meanwhile, Jim Jones, refusing to be a passive victim, escalated the drama publicly, sharing raw, Emotional posts across his social media calling out Cam by name and painting a picture of years of betrayal and jealousy. Fans watched the exchanges with a mixture of horror and fascination. Memes began circulating comparing the feud to Shakespearean tragedies, and pop culture pundits claimed that Dipset's unity had been a facade, a carefully constructed illusion, hiding decades of internal sabotage. But the intrigue didn't stop there. According to some unnamed insiders, Chrissy Lampkin, usually a master of discretion, may have known parts of the plan before the public did. Sources whispered that she had seen signs of brewing resentment between the two men for years and had been quietly advising Jim on how to protect himself, all while Cam allegedly kept up appearances of reconciliation and camaraderie. This only added fuel to the fire as fans speculated about alliances, motives, and hidden agendas. The scandal started to spill into the business side of things as well. Rumors swirled that Cam's alleged campaign had already affected endorsement deals for Jim, with luxury brands allegedly putting contracts on hold due to the perceived instability caused by the feud. At the same time, Cam reportedly faced backlash from investors and collaborators who feared being dragged into the drama, leading to tension and financial uncertainty for both parties. The legal implications also began to surface. Talk of defamation, lawsuits, potential restraining orders, and contractual disputes emerged, all of which promised to extend the fallout into months, if not years, of litigation. Industry insiders speculated about the astronomical sums at stake, from lost sponsorships to potential damages in the millions, and even fans began creating spreadsheets attempting to calculate the financial wreckage that could result from the ongoing feud. Public opinion was fracturing rapidly. Longtime Dipset supporters were split down the middle. Some claimed Cam had orchestrated a cold-blooded betrayal, while others argued that Jim had been negligent or even complicit in his own downfall, failing to recognize the threats simmering within his inner circle. Online polls exploded, YouTube reaction videos surged, and every post, comment, and tweet became a piece of the puzzle in a drama that now seemed larger than life. And then came the wild cards, the so-called third-party manipulators who reportedly inserted themselves between Cam and Jim, feeding both sides with information, leaks, and provocations to maximize tension. Sources claimed these individuals stood to profit from the chaos, monetizing the feud through blogs, podcasts, and social media drama, all while pretending to be friends to both parties. This revelation added a new layer of conspiracy, making it unclear who was pulling strings and who was being manipulated. The public loved it, of course. Every new leak, every cryptic post, and every alleged secret became viral content shared across Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and even niche forums where fan theories ran rampant. The narrative shifted constantly, with each new revelation forcing fans to reevaluate who was the villain, who was the victim, and what was real versus manufactured for maximum impact. But amidst the chaos, one thing: fallout was no longer just about a single video or a personal betrayal. It was about control, legacy, and the very essence of what Dipset represented in hip-hop culture. The once solid bond between Camron and Jim Jones now seemed like glass shards scattered across Harlem and beyond, dangerous and impossible to piece back together without cutting someone in the process. Every move, every tweet, every public appearance became a chess piece in a game that neither could afford to lose, yet both were already dangerously entangled in. As the world watched, speculation reached fever pitch. The fallout from this scandal didn't just stop with social media chaos. It rippled through the music industry like a shockwave, shaking deals, partnerships, and reputations to their core. According to anonymous sources, record labels that once lined up to collaborate with Jim Jones started hesitating, worried that the ongoing feud would taint their brands, while Camron faced scrutiny from business partners, who questioned whether aligning with him was worth the potential fallout. Leaked documents allegedly showed contracts being frozen, promotional events canceled, and endorsements put on hold, creating a financial storm that neither man was fully prepared for. And while the public consumed every tweet, every post, and every cryptic message, the legal machinery quietly began to move. Industry insiders whispered that Jim's legal team had drafted a defamation lawsuit against Camron, alleging emotional distress, slander, and intentional harm caused by the leak of Chrissy Lampkin's private video. Allegedly, the complaint sought millions in damages along with a public apology, and legal experts speculated that if the case proceeded to court, it could set a precedent in celebrity privacy law. Camron, according to some unverified reports, retaliated with a counterclaim alleging years of financial manipulation and extortion, claiming that Jim had used their friendship as a tool to siphon money and exploit opportunities. The court. A public opinion was already in full swing, but now the actual court might get involved, and the tension reached levels that made every post, video, and interview feel like a ticking time bomb. Meanwhile, Chrissy Lampkin, who had been quietly monitoring the situation, reportedly began taking steps to protect her own interests, archiving posts, securing private communications, and consulting with legal advisors, all while the public speculated endlessly about her role. Rumors swirled that she had even been advising Jim behind the scenes, providing guidance on how to navigate the betrayal without losing control of his empire, which only added to the complexity of alliances and motives. Fans and social media detectives continued to dig, finding inconsistencies in statements, cross-referencing interviews, and theorizing about motives and timelines. The online narrative became almost a live-action mystery, with new theories appearing every hour in viral threads comparing the feud to mafia rivalries and political scandals. Some posts suggested Camron had been plotting this for years, leveraging small slights and minor disagreements as part of a master plan to destabilize Jim, while others argued that Jim's own ambition and ego made him an easy target, incapable of seeing the betrayal before it struck. Amidst all of this, a shadowy third party reportedly entered the fray, an alleged puppet master who had access to both camps and was said to be feeding information, leaks, and strategic advice to maximize the drama. According to unnamed sources, this individual stood to profit immensely from the chaos, monetizing exclusives, interviews, and insider details while maintaining plausible deniability. This layer of manipulation made this story feel even more like a Hollywood thriller where no one was safe and trust was a commodity in dangerously short supply. Meanwhile, public sentiment reached fever pitch. Fans began taking sides aggressively, creating factions on social media, meme wars, and even fan videos depicting the feud in dramatic reenactments. Some compared it to biblical betrayal, others to Shakespearean tragedy, but all agreed it was one of the most compelling spectacles in hip-hop history. The pressure on both Camron and Jim Jones intensified daily, with each public appearance scrutinized for hidden meaning, every post dissected, and every silence interpreted as guilt or strategy. Industry analysts speculated that the feud could permanently alter the trajectory of Dipset, affecting collaborations, future music releases, and the overall perception of the brand. Record executives reportedly held emergency meetings, strategizing how to manage the public fallout while salvaging revenue streams, while some artists and collaborators allegedly distanced themselves to avoid being caught in the storm. Meanwhile, the alleged financial chaos added yet another layer to the drama. Reports of frozen bank accounts, delayed royalty payments, and stalled investments began to surface. Some allege that Camron's solo ventures suffered as partners pulled back, fearing association with a man embroiled in one of the most sensational scandals of the decade. Similarly, Jim's businesses were reportedly under scrutiny, with potential investors hesitating and brand deals postponed as legal threats loomed. The tension extended beyond finances and careers, impacting families, friendships, and alliances. So now that you've seen the chaos, the betrayal, and the fallout, it's time to ask yourself who's really in the wrong here? Was it Camron's calculated move, or did Jim Jones bring this storm on himself? And where does Chrissy Lampkin even fit into this tangled web? The truth isn't simple, and that's why we need you to weigh in. Drop your thoughts in the comments below because we want to know who you're siding with. Are you Team Jim, standing with loyalty and outrage, or Team Cam, watching the mastermind play his hand in full view of the world? Or maybe you think the entire feud is one giant mess from the start, a cautionary tale of ego, ambition, and broken bonds. Don't just sit there scrolling while history unfolds. Hit that like button to show you're part of this conversation. Share this video with your friends so everyone can see the truth, and make sure you subscribe for more of these wild, jaw-dropping exposes. Trust me, the drama doesn't end here. We're just getting started, and you don't want to miss the next bombshell. Stay tuned, stay sharp, and remember the truth is out there, and it's more shocking than you think.